Welcome, gentlemen, well-arrived gentlewomen, and also please come in to you as well, gentle children. Today is May the 26th. As you are very well aware, on this day 379 years ago marked the Battle of Montijo. This was part of a war between Spain and Portugal, where Portugal was trying to break the union with Spain and become an independent country. What was funny about this battle, besides, the thousands of dead, is that both sides claimed this as a victory. They went home and patted themselves on the back for being the victors on each side. Now, if you ask an expert historian since 5 minutes ago, like myself, the actual winners were Portugal. Spain was coping, saying that they managed to stop the Portuguese army from capturing a city they were targeting, except the Portuguese were never really targeting that city to begin with. So for this, we will give the win 379 years later to Portugal. Now, what is also happening right now is the beginning of the event, the cross-game event for the release of Diablo 4, which is also happening in World of Warcraft. This is an event which starts now and is going to end all the way forward to June the 14th. So I know some players will start screaming FOMO, fear of missing out, a temporary event with very special rewards, then being gone forever, but to be honest, it's more than 3 weeks. You should have your time to complete this event and get whatever you want to get from this Diablo crossover. The event itself is quite pathetic, we can say this quite honestly. The event itself is just a portal popping up somewhere in the game, and after 5 minutes a goblin, a treasure goblin from Diablo, will pop out. You just whack on this goblin for a couple of minutes, the goblin dies, and you pick up the loot. So nothing really fancy, nothing really entertaining about the event itself, but what about the loot? So let's start first of all with the most obvious of the changes. Blizzard has hotfixed what was for the competitive players the best thing about this event, which were the charms. And these charms were supposed to last for the entirety of the duration of this event. Obviously, if they last also inside a dungeon, inside a raid, it's a pretty significant advantage. They become very powerful. So, a few hours later, Blizzard realized the mistake and now turned these charms into completely useless garbage because they only work outside of instanced content. Now, what about the juicy stuff? First of all, of course, the juiciest of the rewards, I'm assuming for many, is going to be Tyrell's Charger. This was given to all of the players who bought the annual pass, basically the annual subscription for World of Warcraft. This was all the way back for the release of Mists of Pandaria. You would get this mount as well, now making its way back with this event. So that is obviously the juiciest of the rewards. Another reward which is quite handy, it's not particularly flashy whatsoever, but the Horadric Haversack is a 36 slot bag that you can find from the Goblin. Now, what is worth pointing out as a disclaimer that Blizzard themselves pointed out is that the bag, the 36 slot bag, as well as the Tyrell's Charger, are going to have a significantly higher chance of dropping on the first treasure goblin kill of the day. Now, important to point out, this is for any character on an account, so you don't get to character shuffle and kill the first goblin of the day on all of your characters to have a higher chance of looting it. The higher increased chance on the first kill of the day is on the first character of your account every day. So you don't have to do all of this character switching if you're trying to hunt for these two rewards. As far as the actual loot, you do have the Baal Isle Soulstone, which is the cute little innocent demonic goat, recolored red. You then have a Diablo-themed transmog, the Ensemble Amity Hood and Cloak. That's just it, 2 items, the hood and the cloak, nothing else. Another one is the Diablo-themed banner, the Nightmare banner you can use. This banner is the same as all of the other banners in the game, in the sense that it only has a 3-minute cooldown. However, unlike many other banners, this one seems quite thicker, quite chunkier, perhaps because it's a bit wider than your typical other banners in the game. Still, it looks quite cool. Then again, I'm not sure how many people actually remember to have banners as their toys, besides perhaps some of you role players. One of the cooler ones for transmog would be the Treasure Nabbing Bag, which is exactly what the name implies, yet another transmog piece for your cloak, which isn't a cloak, as well as a handful of weapons. You have Word's fighting leg as an offhand, then you have Word's last leg as a one-handed mace, and lastly Word's haunted leg as a two-handed mace. Finally, another one of the additions as for toys is going to be the Tome of Town Portal, yet another one of these toys to basically replace your Hearthstone effect, to have a different type of Hearthstone effect to your actual Hearthstone. And no, obviously, like all of the other toy Hearthstones, this is not actually going to give you a second Hearthstone. It's not actually going to double the amount of uses of your Hearthstones. It's just for the effect, for the particles of you using your Hearthstone. And lastly, something that was in the game already, has been obtainable in the game already, making a comeback, the 12-string guitar. The 12-string guitar was obtained from defeating the Cow King. The Cow King was part of a mini event for Diablo's 20th anniversary quite a few years back. Now it makes a comeback as well, able to be looted from the treasures of the Treasure Goblin. Now, in case you're asking, okay, where and when do I find these Treasure Goblins? So, very simple answer is to have other people do that job for you. For example, you can go on wago.io, or if you're even lazier, I will post the links down in the description, to pick up a Wikora to essentially give you a timer, a countdown timer of when and where the next goblin is going to spawn. Goblins have already been data mined to have a 30-minute rotation. The rotation seems to go between the capital cities of Stormwind and Orgrimmar, and then back in Valdrakken, as well as the other zones in Dragonflight. So cycling between the Waking Shores, Onaran Plains, Azurspan, Taldrassus, and then reset the cycle. Important to not get bamboozled, we do actually have different spawn timers and different locations depending on your time zone. So if you're playing in NA, make sure not to pick up the timings from EU, because those are going to be different. You can identify the goblin spawning by this icon right here on the minimap, and then from the moment the portal shows up, it will have a 5-minute countdown, a 5-minute timer until the goblin actually pops out. This is basically all you need to know about the Diablo 4 crossover event in World of Warcraft for these next 3 weeks that it will run until the 14th of June. So, with this informative bit of news for today on this Friday, it's time to leave each other once more. We are starting, of course, to thank all of the Patreon supporters for the help and the contribution for the channel. You can still support, of course, completely for free. You can like and comment down below, as well as subscribe to the channel itself. And then lastly, you can follow me over on my Twitter, as well as following me over on my stream on Twitch. So with these useless things out of the way, thank you guys again for watching. See you guys soon, and in the meantime, it's always annoying when you finally realize you have to eat right as you know you have to do other things for a couple more hours. That is annoying.